Hello, finally.
Hello, Katherine. How are you?
Excellent. Thank you, Ismail. How are you?
I'm good, thank you very much. Thanks for joining me.
Yes. So,
How
super.
is the connection? Do you hear me good enough?
Yes, I can hear you very well. Crystal clear.
Okay, the same here.
Great.
Perfect, Katherine. So, first of all, could you introduce yourself?
Yes, my name's Catherine, and I am a yoga teacher, but I do a lot more than just teach asana. I've been studying and researching yoga for over 30 years.
Wow.
And yeah, I was like 11 when I discovered yoga, and I had been on this discovery journey for that long. Um,
Okay.
and so in my process of learning about yoga for so many years, it actually became very holistic and it became more of like system theory instead of
Okay.
just yoga. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where it got really deep and it just became like this very everything very connected type of like very cohesive picture. Like, because I was born looking at this world going, what is wrong with us? Like,
Yeah.
it was, yeah, one of the first things that influenced me was just being born, I think.
Okay.
And not that I remember when I was born, but yeah.
So, did this happen like a long time ago when you saw how you perceived the reality that it was like really incredible for you?
Yes, well, I had a very, very powerful awakening when I was 21 years old, which
Okay.
was like, I'm gonna date myself, but it was back in 2002.
Okay.
Yeah, so I realized a lot of things and I quickly understood, I feel like I understood that the education system needs to change.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
was one very important thing that came up for me. I was like, we're going in such a bad direction collectively, that we really should actually introduce very important aspects of discernment into school, helping children to tell the difference between that which is rational and that which is not rational.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that which is rooted in reality and that which may be just rooted in assumption, not exactly
Yeah.
factual.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And what has led you to the knowledge and perspective that you have today, most of all?
What has led me, I feel like just being observant of our sufferings and
Mm.
how my yoga studies have informed my worldview um, through the teachings of the Buddha and yoga alike because they actually are really the same thing. When you dig deep into it, you'll see how
Mm-hmm.
everything crosses over when it comes to Buddhism and yoga, or basically anything that is revolving around what they call Dharma,
Yeah.
like the law of cause and effect, of the law of that which is, versus that which is not, because that which is not is also in the law of Dharma. And it's like, it's really interesting when you dig deep into what Dharma means.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like a lot of our world is stuck on the Bhagavad Gita for teachings on what the Dharma is. And in my opinion, you can't just stop there. You should not, because it could warp your view of what Dharma is.
Okay. And could you explain in a few words to the people listening what Dharma really is, what it means?
Yes, so it is essentially, in the best way to describe it to the Western English speaking world that's been indoctrinated by a lot of like the Abrahamic religions and things like that. Um, Dharma is like the will of God.
Mm-hmm.
It is the good order of nature. It is just the way that things are. And yoga's teachings are really there as an outline of very practical advice on what to do with your life in order to be in alignment.
Okay.
And if you are not taking this good and practical advice of yoga, then you will be out of alignment. And
Mm-hmm.
you will generate karmic debt.
Okay. Wow.
So, yeah, yoga is not fascism or anything, but it almost is. in
Hmm.
this way, where it's like, if you don't follow this, there's going to be problems, you know?
Okay.
It's not a threat. It doesn't threaten you. It doesn't tell you you've got to do this and you know what I mean? It doesn't read like some other religious doctrines, like saying that you will be in trouble if you don't listen to us.
Mm-hmm.
It's just very neutral and very plain and very, I guess, bland. It doesn't come with like this, like, scary threats and things like this.
Yeah.
It's just what it is.
And do you also agree that a lot of people think yoga is only a type of sport? Yeah.
Yeah, this is a huge problem. Yoga has been turned into a very performative thing,
Mm-hmm.
and that's like a pinky fingernail of yoga
Yeah.
that everybody is focusing on. And it's like, yeah, I've got my pinky fingernail like done this way. How do you do your pinky fingernail? And everybody is very obsessed over
Mm-hmm.
how they put that little manicure on that one little pinky fingernail. You could put manicures on that pinky fingernail a million ways,
Mm-hmm.
and you can always think about just that one and never think about all these others. So that's how much we're missing out on opportunities, to actually grow, evolve, become powerful beings.
Mm.
Because that's
Yeah.
what yoga is about. It's about the human potential, and it's big. It's much bigger than your being able to balance, do a one-handed handstand, and then shoot a bow and arrow with your feet, and things
Yeah.
like this. So
So yoga can show you how powerful you are.
yes, and it could also show you, more of us notice this, how weak you are,
Yeah.
how difficult doing asana can be. You know,
Mm-hmm. And
so
what's
here's
asana?
asana is actually the bodily aspect of yoga.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you mean the bodily aspect, do you mean like the bodily possibilities, the like the reach of your body, the stretches, the health, the flexibility?
Essentially, yes. So the word asana or asan means posture or seat.
Oh,
So that's it, just is that very simple concept. And then since it's so simple, you can articulate from that.
yeah, okay.
And that's the thing with yoga. A lot of things are very simply brought forth, and then you can grow on that. You can take that and go, all right, so how far can I go with that? So for instance, the first, part of yoga, if you look at the sutras, is ahimsa. So
Okay.
that's non-violence,
Mm-hmm.
um, non-harm, essentially. Also non-harm.
Yeah.
So you can take that as far as you'd like. You can take it to the way you speak. You can take it to who you interact with. Um, it could be harmful for you to hang out with like criminals and drug addicts, for instance. So you might not want to do that to avoid harm.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of people have adopted ahimsa as a vegan diet. And
Mm.
that's often kind of what they feel is like the ultimate expression of ahimsa, is to make sure that what you're eating has nothing to do with subjugating and harming other beings.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is very logical.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also caveats in that. It's very complicated if
Okay.
you really, really think about it. Like if you only eat, for instance, if you only drink, um, what is it? Like nut milks of all types, like especially I guess almond milk.
Yeah.
I've heard people say that hunting and eating squirrels is more vegan. Yeah,
Okay.
sorry, my voice. Yeah,
It's okay.
I've been having like I've been going to like the voice doctor and stuff like that. They're like, there's nothing wrong. And I'm like, why do I feel like there's a blockage when I talk? Hmm, that's an interesting thing. So anyway, yes. So and I would like to know about your podcast a little bit more too, if you don't mind. So how long have you guys been around?
Well, we're actually just starting. Yeah, because as you know, I went to Peru like in 2023. I stayed there like 6 months, and we worked with shamans. We learned from the shamans, and now I'm like helping people over here in Belgium because nobody knows about those plants that help us, like bodily and also mentally. So when we returned from Peru, we tried to like help the people around the neighborhood here, like show them there's another way.
Nice.
Um, so we're doing like kind of yeah, sacred ceremonies around here. And a lot of people ask me like, why don't you like start a podcast to have like a bigger reach, like to explain people there's another way to be healed, to feel better, like to be more centered, you know? And that's the whole reason I think why we started with the podcast, like to have a yeah, bigger reach, I think. Yeah.
No, that's beautiful. You had a video that I think it was you put it out like a year ago from this channel, and I just happened upon it when I was looking through your materials, and it was really nice
Yeah.
because it was about, I believe, if my memory serves me properly, it was like really it was pretty. It was really pretty and animated, and it was talking about, it was very much centered around authenticity and
Mm.
not fighting to be positive and striving to be more in neutrality, I believe.
Yeah.
It's a very important yoga lesson, actually. That's
Yeah.
also it's also equivalent once again to what the Buddha taught.
Yeah.
Navigating that middle path is
Mm-hmm.
very, very important. Yeah.
Exactly.
Uh,
I had a question I wanted to ask you before. Do you see yoga as a religion? Should it be like a way of living, or do you see it as a type of religion?
no, I see it as a way of living, but
Okay.
it can easily be seen as a religion if you um I think like if you just have a religious perspective or you have no other comparison to it other than religion, it's
Mm.
very easy to make this mistake. Um, I would say that yoga, if you were to say that it was a religion, I would say it is the perfect religion if it was a religion.
Okay.
Uh, the only thing is a religion requires for you to make I don't want to say sacrifices, but to perform rituals specifically for God,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very restrictive. The word religion is from the Latin word religare to mean, to bind.
Mm-hmm.
So you could stretch the meaning of this word though in and like almost juxtapose, or not juxtapose, try to like kind of line it up with the term yoga. Because what yoga means is to yoke, essentially. It means to join.
Mm.
It's like it's a like communion or union. So that's where it starts to be like, religion. And yoga also encourages you to surrender to God.
Mm.
So that sounds insanely religious.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
you can also really stretch that. So higher power. So the surrender to God aspect outlined in the sutras is in Sanskrit, it is Ishvara Pranidhana. And
Mm-hmm.
so Ishvara is a term for the divine or God. It's like this Ishvara is like the vibration of the universe, or that mysterious power that seems to be beyond our comprehension, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Yeah.
And even I could take it and line it up with Zen, which Zen Buddhism has no God.
Mm.
Buddhism, it has been said, it is really not truly a religion because it
Okay.
has no God.
Mm.
Buddhism is more of like a school of thought. So it's been distorted into a religion, in my opinion, it's a guardrail. Religion to me is a guardrail, and it prevents us from attaining power or from reaching an understanding of power or becoming an embodiment of power, because that would ruin the whole story of religion.
Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah. That seems logic. Yeah. And how do you help people like learn more about yoga? You know, because there's like a lot of people who really heard about yoga. Never. How?
Yeah, so uh this is gonna be a little bit of a almost spicy topic. I don't know like how spicy or like what your censorship levels are.
Everything is
Um,
okay.
okay, so I'm going to get right into sex then,
Okay.
because that's something we all like. It's something we all can relate to, and it comes with your body mind experience of living in this world.
Mm.
You know, very much like you cannot quite separate sex from life
Mm-hmm.
because that's where we all came from. And so if people are like, for instance, they have hangups on yoga, they have aversions to yoga. For one thing, aversion is a suffering that it's considered one of the sufferings of sufferings, the five sufferings. There's so many ways to guide people into yoga without being like, okay, guys, let's get on the yoga mat and put on our Lululemon or, whatever prana brand, clothing. So there's so many ways. So like sex is a really great way of doing this, because people want to have good sex. It's and people are very performative in their mentality. So what I do is I also share with people stuff about the healing Tao, which they call the healing Tao these days. This goes into Chinese sexual yoga, actually, which a lot of people have no idea that this exists at all, and like, what is that? So I've also called it sexual kung fu. And so that's where people are like, wait a second, like, what? You know?
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about disciplining the flow of energy that moves through your body. That is the arousal state. There's ways of moving that aroused energy up your spine and into your pineal gland, and then it filters down through your brain and into the rest of your organs to nourish them.
Okay.
So they call this microcosmic orbit. And this is like a whole other kind of world of yoga.
Okay.
Because, yeah, yoga to yoke, you can say that it is to yoke the animal nature to the higher nature. you
Mm.
know so this is a really direct way to do this. I can go into so many deep places that it would almost put you to sleep if I like keep talking about it.
Oh, that's okay.
Getting into the Garden of Eden, that
Yeah.
Eden is a Hebrew word for pleasure. And if you want to, and pleasure and enjoyment, right? So if you
Mm-hmm.
want to be like really like take it out of this literalist kind of view, like there goes, so we got a couple people in a garden. Let's get very allegorical, very symbolic, very shamanic. Okay, this is a
Yeah.
shamanic language space. So the Garden of Eden, let's say, is your body, you know so inside of the Garden of Eden you would have the tree of knowledge of good and evil,
Mm-hmm.
and that good and evil could be considered the base carnal desires and the higher spiritual mind.
Okay.
So that could be the chakra system in your spine.
Wow.
Yeah. So then if we get into the snake, who is the snake in the tree? That would be Kundalini,
Mm-hmm.
right? So,
Is that something like now you hear a lot about Kundalini, you know?
mhm.
Everybody's talking about it,
Oh yeah.
but I believe that so much people are talking about it and don't really comprehend what the real Kundalini is, you know?
Yeah.
So could
Yeah.
you explain to me and to people listening like what is a real awakening of the Kundalini? How do you recognize it and like how much time do you need to be fully like working on it before it activates?
This is a really, really great question. Well, Kundalini, let's start with the meaning of the term. So, Kundal means to coil around. So, it is coiled around so many times at the base of the spine. We don't even need to get into the number of times. Some
Mm-hmm.
people say three, some people say two and a half. It's like, it's just there, it's coiled. Kundal describes the nature of coiling or being coiled. And so when it awakens or opens, it's coiling upward. It's just moving up. Everything moves in coils or circles, cycles. Everything's moving like this in the
Mm-hmm.
universe. You know, we've got the golden ratio, everything's obviously
Yeah.
spiraling. So there's that. And so it actually really describes like a dormancy. A lot of people don't realize that. So when you say like my Kundalini is awakened, that's great. That's a bunch of words, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody else is going to ever understand from your perspective what that means. So that's like um, describing, you know, the state of flying in the sky to a fish in the ocean. You know, the
Yeah.
fish has got to experience it. So this is why it's really hard, and this is also why it's really easy for people to fake enlightenment and for people to follow people who claim they're enlightened,
Mm-hmm.
or you know, have a really very charismatic way to pull people in. So Krishnamacharya, who was a teacher of both yoga teachers BKS Iyengar and Patabi Joyce, who created the Ashtanga kind of system or perpetuated it. The Krishnamacharya claimed that Kundalini is a blockage in itself, that it's an obstacle
Mm.
because you don't really need to worry about understanding Kundalini or knowing what it is, because once it awakens, it is a byproduct of things you have chosen to do. And it's not like you're sitting here thinking like, oh, I've got the special hand positions Kundalini on. You know, like you
Yeah.
can't quite have like all this. It's not like some fictional sci-fi anime car. I'm thinking of anime, you know, or you're
Yeah.
like transformation, yeah, you know, like it's like
Exactly.
so when Kundalini awakens, it usually is a byproduct of you choosing something different than what you've been doing. You change the path of your karma, or you do an act, or you do discipline in your life, or you make a drastic enough change where you can break through the blockage in the solar plexus. So
Mm.
everybody has a um so let's name the solar plexus chakra Manipura.
Mm-hmm.
So Manipura means lustrous gem, and essentially I just get this vision these days when I talk about it as it being dull. It's not so lustrous. It needs work. It needs to be shined. And our self-esteem is actually the energy of the self-esteem is there. When we are uncomfortable, we are doing this, like we cross our arms over our solar plexus. It's the way we are designed. So this is just a very important center in our being that it's the middle point, is the crux essentially of our spiritual awakening process. It's part of the physiological and the spiritual, this whole crossroads, you know.
Okay.
So that requiring to open that would require for you to potentially what will happen with me personally, and it
Mm-hmm.
happens different for everybody. And it happens like it could happen in a period of weeks, it could happen in a period of months if you start working on it, it could happen in a period of years. This also depends probably on your karma or the divine timing of what's happening behind your incarnation.
Okay.
So, yeah, for me, I threw away like 75% of my material belongings at one point.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? All this stuff, I really don't need it to be happy. I found where you can get happiness from, and that is a choice. That is
Okay.
all based on your choice. A lot of people will strictly, you know, disagree that it is based on externals,
Mm.
you know, but really you are the ultimate determining point for your happiness and or satisfaction.
Mm.
So in yoga they teach santosha or satisfaction. So that's, I believe, where Kundalini awakening will come from for many people, is that satisfaction with the self in
Yeah.
essence. And I think this is why yoga and Buddhism had their separation, because there was a schools of Buddhism that came up that were like, we have no self. There is no self. We are non-dual. Self is creating the duality of like other, you know, and so we're going to say self is not the thing we work on. We just work on emptiness.
Mm.
And in my opinion, the essential nature of self is actually beyond comprehension, and therefore it is actually empty. And this is why we have self-esteem problems.
Wow.
due to that core nature of self being emptiness. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
So if I got that right, there's no one way or of activating your Kundalini. It's more the way of living, the choices you make, the feeling you have
Definitely.
inside your heart. So, for example, people talking about Kundalini breathing, so that's not really a thing.
No, that
Ah,
people take tarot cards now to Reiki sessions, you know.
ah,
The world has become a lot more confused, and I think that this is also probably something we can attribute to the hoarding and the distortion of information that has been happening a lot.
mm.
And I was just reading the CIA's reading room page last night before I went to sleep, and actually I shared a little bit of it on my Substack.
Yeah?
Yeah, so there's, secrets of yoga were studied intensively in R&D, research and development, through CIA, and
Wow.
they talked a lot about ways that you can actually enhance human performance through yoga practices that are not commonly known through the world, since they got everybody stuck on acrobatics.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So even things that, of course, Olympic athletes have been knowing about, anybody who is in like an elite performance tier, or, in this world, like any kind of organization, order, group, they usually become informed, and they're doing things that the greater population has no clue about. One that's common in India and has gained small popularity in the rest of the world is candle gazing,
Mm. Yeah.
Tratak. Yeah, have you heard of that one?
Yeah, that's really impressive.
Hmm.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that's one small one.
Katherine, can I almost forgot that question I want to ask you about the Kundalini.
Yeah,
Does it mean if you awaken the Kundalini that you're enlightened? Or can
this
you
is a
be.
this is a great question.
Yeah.
I would say that you are at least in you're I would say you're out of the woods. That's all I
Ah,
would say.
okay.
Um, that's my best way of describing that. Well, for me personally, I had quite a Satori, I guess you'd call it, experience. Or what's the best way to describe Satori in English? Like great realization.
Mm,
You reach a level of realization in your life when you are on your spiritual journey. You can, if you're navigating it, with, the highest of ethics. I believe, you have to do it in a clean way. Understand that you need to prioritize honesty, first and foremost. Honesty and realism must come before any of these great mystical things happen. Great pragmatism and responsibility,
yeah.
a lot of accountability. So you have to have a foundation that's very solid, that's based on integrity.
Okay.
And I wanted to talk actually about how everything is bandwidth based with consciousness. We have a bandwidth of integrity, and we have below the bandwidth of integrity,
Mm-hmm.
and this is stuff that you can refer to the work of Dr. David Hawkins, who was a really wonderful scientist in
Mm-hmm.
America. He was a clinical psychologist, and he was using kinesiology, like muscle testing,
Yeah.
right? He is using this to determine levels of consciousness, and he worked with his wife over a period of years, and he came up with a way to map consciousness, which is just like absolutely
Wow.
groundbreaking. And he did get knighted by Queen Elizabeth, but a
Oh,
lot of people, they know more about Paul McCartney than him. So I mean,
yeah. Sadly enough, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so much, going into this. So, in my opinion, when your Kundalini awakens, to bring it back home to where you asked, um, your Kundalini awakens once you break through integrity, into the field of integrity.
Yeah.
You must gain like ground in the field of integrity. in order to awaken Kundalini. Otherwise, you're going to be always below integrity, and you
Mm.
will be using your riz factor, your
Yeah.
charisma, to draw in an audience and talk in circles about stuff that does not land in practical science and daily applications and skills and wisdom and skillful means.
Okay.
If you're not teaching both wisdom and skillful means, and you're just teaching in wisdom, and you provide no skillful means, then you are spiritually misleading your audience,
Mm.
and they are going in circles and circles. And this is probably why I came onto your podcast and I gave this explosive comment, and I was like, I've had enough.
Yeah, no, I like
Yeah,
it.
so I
It's
just
that's okay because
yeah.
because of that comment, now I know you, I know who you are. You're learning me a lot of things. I'm really thankful for that. So, I believe that everything happens for a reason.
Yeah,
Really everything.
I agree. I really appreciate your wisdom and
Thanks.
your that's I mean that takes a lot of resilience. I believe you have to be resilient to actually put up with me.
No. You need yeah. I think I suppose you're an open person, Katherine, right?
Yeah, yeah, I'm open to being wrong. And I think that's
Exactly.
really important for us
That's
to be
beautiful.
where we need to be there. We all need
Yeah.
to be there because of once you're like happy even to be wrong and to realize that you've made a mistake, that's
Yeah.
when your growth factor is going to escalate like, exponentially,
Exactly. Yeah.
and you'll just be able to just drop stuff that you
Mhm.
were holding on to so dearly, like, I know this is how it is. You'll just be like, ah, I'm wrong, and you could just like let it go and move right forward, you know
Exactly.
yeah.
That's what intrigued me also because I saw your comment and I was like, that person knows a lot. I need to call that person. Um, so that's why my next question was there something like that happened in your life that changed like the whole view of seeing how life works? Like something incredible that you have lived?
Yeah, well, it was all this stuff right before the Kundalini awakening.
Wow.
It felt like breakthrough after breakthrough, just living with, I was not even on any plant medicines.
Wow.
That's the amazing thing. And I understand we use breakthrough as a term for plant medicines,
Yeah.
and sacraments and theogenic experiences.
Mm-hmm.
I've been there. I've had several, you
Wow.
know. But I didn't have a lot of those before my awakening, to be honest with you. And a lot of
Okay.
people will be like, "Oh, I had an awakening on mushrooms. I had like, like on
Yeah.
acid." Like people always have these stories about like on weed, MDMA, like
Yeah.
TH, all the things, what was it? One of my friends, MDA, not MDMA, what was it? DMT, I've
Yeah.
heard people become like obsessed with that,
The whole
you
internet is
know.
talking about it now.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
incredible.
It's the molecule, and they're all
Yeah.
like worshiping it, making extracts of it, and probably have a shrine in their basement for it, like where the extracts are being made, you know. But where was I going with this? I went way
You
off.
had your awakening before all that. It happened
Yes,
on a
so yes, the awakening happened without anything, sober in sobriety. I
yeah.
was living with my mentor. So I
Okay.
had a mentor, and I think this is where the guru comes in. Like we've been throwing the guru away in society a lot. We have made a mistake with doing that. But we've done it out of our bad impressions of guru.
Yeah.
You need to have somebody in your life that has um, the above integrity perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, it's said, pardon me, how like 80% of people on planet Earth are not in integrity. And
Mm.
that is scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that explains why we have a lot of very successful businesses that have harmed our environments.
Mm-hmm.
Because people can't tell the difference between a business that has integrity and one that doesn't, because they can't tell when they're in integrity and when they're not, because
Yeah.
they're not happy to be wrong.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So the quicker, the more of us who can be happy to be wrong and to understand that we're like in error and we're not going the right direction and we're making assumptions, the better off the whole world will be, and we'll be able to make these realizations. This is like part of that process where I realize this stuff. Um, I wanted to write a book, and I think I ruined my chances of doing it, or maybe I'll do it later. But I was gonna
Okay.
be on the topic of a seagull enlightening me
Mm.
to keep it in a really humble place. So, okay, I
Okay.
was with my mentor, and he was inviting me into understanding like that. A lot of us are delusional. A lot of us, we think that life is one way, and it's not. Assumption, perception is reality. Was
Mm-hmm.
something that he said a lot of the time, and that's scary, but that's how it is for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
To just give you an idea of like how delusional we can all be, the high potential of being delusional, it's huge.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to be like hearing voices. You don't have to be hallucinating. It doesn't have to be extreme. It could just be that you're making assumptions over and over and over again. This factor of making assumptions is constantly putting something up in front of your actual clarity, constantly.
Yeah.
So the more we can start to, and he just told me this stuff. He introduced me to these ideas. Um, for instance, fear. We most often fear things that never come to fruition,
Mm-hmm.
is what he taught me. That was one of his name was Andrew. It was his
Andrew.
Andrewisms, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there were a lot of Andrewisms. Some of them were not perfect. Some of them were very like sensationalist
Mm.
almost to really get your attention. Nobody in their right mind owns a dog. It's not rational to own a dog, is something you would say. Nobody in
Mm.
their right mind has tattoos. You know, you get really
Yeah.
extreme. No, they're like there is a rational reason to own a dog if you're blind and you have a
Mm-hmm.
seeing eye dog, you know. He would say there's no rational reason to own a dog, that it's emotional, you know. And I think there's a really big pushing point, you know, there's a good point behind that. But yeah, the nobody factors, you know, kind of, oh, is that our time?
No, no, that's my watch. Sorry.
Okay. Just making sure. Yeah, so obviously there's a hole in that plot,
Yeah.
but he was human, I'm human.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to forgive people for like the points that they're trying to make. Sometimes they're just trying to guide you to understand, to look at things from a different perspective.
Yeah.
So once you reach a higher bandwidth of consciousness, you are going to see life from a different perspective.
Mm.
It's like seeing the world from the top of the trees versus seeing the world from underneath the shade of the tree. You
Yeah.
know, like the or in the rainforest. I remember watching uh shows, like nature shows about the rainforest, and being underneath the rainforest canopy is like a whole different world than being up above it.
Yeah.
You know, the animals living above the canopy or in within the canopy, they're in a whole different kind of like universe almost,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and this
Yeah.
is how our consciousness works.
Yeah.
Yeah, having a plant medicine ceremony in the Amazon must be really very, very deep, you
Yeah.
know?
It's yeah. It's impressive. It's like
Yeah.
and the strangest thing of all, I was really skeptic about it. You know, I was like, I'm gonna prove my wife it's it's a cult. It's not real. It's blah blah. You know. But I learned it the hard way. You know, it was very intense, and like you said, like you had this vision from above the trees, and I never before knew that was possible to see the world from a higher point of view, like not from your point of view, but from a third person view, let's say. And they
Yeah.
showed me, and that it gives you the chance to put your ego on the side and like see the bigger picture, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's really beautiful. And you had it without any plant medicine. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was um there was a point where I felt like I was tripping because I ended up staring in the mirror at myself.
Ah, wow,
I was staring at myself in the mirror for like a whole hour.
wow. Like,
And I
is it
wasn't
like?
like just it wasn't about my appearance and I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't it was just like I was looking right into my eyes,
Wow.
you know, and I was just like I was confronting myself. I was like,
Ah.
you monster, you took so much time from my life where I could have been growing. I could have been making my life so much easier. I could have had a lot less suffering if I understood the things now that I know, that I now know.
Mm.
But I was blocking myself from reaching these understandings because of my pride,
Ah.
because of my arrogance and pride from that doctor, Dr. David Hawkins, from his perspective. It's in the bandwidths, you know, of the map of consciousness. If you check out
Okay.
the map of consciousness, it's right below integrity.
Okay.
So as long as you strive for pride and you seek pride as your refuge from your sufferings, you're going to actually be stealing from yourself
Mm.
opportunities to become an awakened being.
Wow. So at that moment, you when you watched in the mirror, it was like trying to give up that pride. Was it something like
Yeah,
that?
well, it was like I felt like I was having to it was like my personal Armageddon.
Ah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
confrontation, like the showdown between myself and me.
Yeah.
Like my so what it was is like I feel like I had just at that point, once I came to that point where I could just confront myself in this way where I'm like I'm literally reflecting
Mm.
on having had broken through the construct of self,
Mm-hmm.
because we have a construct of what we think we are.
Yeah.
And this is enforced by the pride. It's reinforced by the
Mm.
pride. And that is then again, our ego comforts us that this is like where we should be. We should be proud of whatever our performance is or whatever it is. Be proud. You don't really need to be proud once you have reached integrity, because you're doing what's needed to be done.
Mm-hmm.
uh you should give others the opportunity to be proud of you
Yeah.
so much, like not so much as you being proud of yourself. Like sure, like be proud of yourself, but you don't need to make that your banner.
Mm-hmm.
You can just be satisfied that you're doing well instead of proud.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's a fine line between those two, right?
There is very
Yeah.
much. And some people will be like, there's no difference. Like, I don't even get this. Of course, you're not going to get it because you haven't reached what is the next bandwidth above integrity or above, no, I'm
Mm.
sorry, above pride. So, what gets you into integrity? This is the question that we need to be asking now.
Yeah.
So, how do we get out of pride if pride is bad? And I'm not really saying pride is necessarily bad, I'm just saying it is where it is,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
And it is, according to that doctor, he says that it's inflation. It's based on an energy of inflation. And so yeah, once you reach the next level, so what is that next level? That is courage.
Ah.
That makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Wow.
the next level is courage, which that is where you become also humble. And this is where it's very complicated. This is where I lose friends. This is where,
Okay.
like, if one of my friends said something to me that was very vulnerable, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is a really important thing for many people to know about. And I take a screenshot and I take off his name and I'm like, I'm going to share this. And they get
Mm.
mad. They're like, that's my information. That's my story. Don't share that. And I'm like, well, but it's not your name. You're not getting exposed. I think this is
Mm.
important for everybody. And they're like, that's mine,
Yeah.
and they
I
get
get you.
very upset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe you did it for something like positive, like to show it to the people, you know?
Yeah, it's like love songs. You know,
Yeah.
some of the best love songs are written because somebody's heart was broken and they have a
Mm.
story about what happened and they tell it in the song and other people hear it and they're like, that's me.
Yeah.
I had that experience. You know, we are all part of a big fractal,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
And so like the way I talk, people are like, are you on acid? Are you tripping? Are you on drugs? You know? It's so funny because it's like, no, I'm in the higher bandwidth. Like I got in there.
Mm.
Uh that's the only thing I can tell you. Enlightened, if you look at the map of consciousness, that's the top of the bandwidth. That's up with angels and God and Jesus and Buddha.
Yeah.
You know? Why would I claim that? You know, what would that do for me? What would that do for you?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what do you believe most people are missing right now?
Most people are missing opportunities to be real with each other. And so many people
Mm.
are suffering from loneliness right now because we've
Yeah.
been ghosting each other. Ghosting has become normalized. We are living out of fear. We're afraid of things that will not come true. So what we need
Mm-hmm.
to do is we need to take the leap and jump through this wall that we've created of this fear factor, like
Yeah.
of fear of judgment is poisoning this whole world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people who claim that they don't judge, the more you claim you don't judge, the more afraid of judgment you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking about that today, you know? I was helping some people at the gym, and it's incredible how your mind sometimes judges before
Hmm.
you even noticed you're judging, you know? It's like,
Absolutely.
do you think it's like a program, an old program running in the background? Or why do we always judge, you know?
Yeah,
Why?
I think that's you touched on something interesting there. Yeah, the old program running in the background could be touching on our survival instincts.
Mm.
You know, like, am I safe? Is this going to kill me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I need to make sure that, or, you know, and it's obviously that's a huge exaggeration. Is this going to kill me? You
Yeah.
know, if I go to the gym, let's keep the gym for the factor, like I was going to Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness is a judgment-free zone.
Yeah.
So that's a really great example. This is like this is the way God works, you know. Like you
Yeah.
probably don't know about Planet Fitness Gym and that they have signs all over the show that say judgment free zone. We are a judgment free
Ah,
gym.
really?
Yes.
Wow.
So when I'm in there and I'm thinking like, well, what if I see another person and they're doing something injurious to themselves? They're lifting a free weight in a way that's going to tear their rotator cuff.
Mm.
Like, should I come up to them and kindly, you know, suggest, hey, would you like to know something about what you're doing with that weight right there? You know, or would
Mm.
you like to know something about that? I don't know. Like, you need to frame it obviously in a diplomatic way where
Yeah.
they don't feel judged, they don't feel criticized, they don't
Mm.
feel, even though, yes, you're making a judgment because you're judging that, hey, this person is going to hurt themselves.
Yeah.
That is a judgment, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And is this like something we should condemn other people over? That's the next branch from judgment,
Mm-hmm.
condemnation, you know? So it's what you do with that judgment and it's how that judgment is arising. And we're not making these like cognitive, like, you know, we're not calculating this, we're not adding up the maths in our mind, like, oh, so that's a beautiful dress is a judgment, but that's not like a condemnation and it's not like yeah, like hey, like that dress does not look good on you. Like you
Mm-hmm.
should not wear that dress, honey.
Yeah.
No. You know, like that's what we're
Exactly.
avoiding, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, also the fear factor, the fear of rejection. This is also tied into the you know ghosting and the
Mm.
judgment and all that and the latent survival instinct fear of rejection.
Yeah.
Have you heard of RSD?
RSD, no.
Okay, so America, we love our acronyms. We are being programmed all day long by these little like short commands of like,
Okay.
they're like memes, right? You know what a
Mm-hmm.
meme really is, right?
Yeah.
It's a mind virus. It's something catchy everybody knows about, the little,
Yeah.
like, yeah, beginning of Beethoven's fifth, bum 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 bum. You know, if you
Yeah.
everyone, oh, I know that. That's what a meme really is. A lot of people are like, oh, a cute picture with the words. You know, like,
Mm-hmm.
no, that's this obviously bigger than that.
Okay.
But so the RSD, rejection sensitive dysphoria.
Mm. Okay.
So, rejection sensitive dysphoria, they say, is something that some people have because they are so sensitive to rejection that they have like a collapse of some kind. Like they maybe have like a huge bout of depression just come over them, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and it lasts, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not a clinical psychologist. So I can't tell you the actual like standardized factors to make it specifically RSD, but what I can tell you is that we all have it, in my opinion, you
Okay.
know,
Yeah.
because when we were a zygote, we all encountered the fear of rejection.
Mm-hmm.
When we
Yeah.
were a cluster of 16 cells before we developed a brain, we were just a fertilized egg doing its thing, dividing, going into the womb of our mother and getting ready to plant the placenta. At that point, we could have been rejected by our mother's immune system and we could have been a miscarriage.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
this is why everybody in this world has a lot of problems connecting and uh, being like more, I feel like, gradual rather than fast with trying to become intimate. I feel
Mm.
like that urgency has really
Yeah.
harmed us, you
No.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is why I think it's important to talk about sex with
Yeah.
yoga right now with people and be like, there is a semen retention has become more popular these days,
Mm-hmm.
and the microcosmic orbit, it should be part of the semen retention, but we're not talking about that enough.
When you talk about semen retention, how much um, time should like pass by?
That's a really good question. I think it's different for everybody because some people can go even like actually years,
Mm.
which is wild. But there are ways to ejaculate inward to like not keep the pressure on the prostate.
Okay. Wow.
No, because
I
the
didn't know
prostate
that.
obviously increasingly gets pressure as you retain, and it's stretchy, you know, it's elastic. So you don't want to outstretch it though because you can injure it.
Mm.
So people have injured their prostates with semen retention, doing it improperly. There's very specific techniques that you need to use, and you need to use prostate massage, and that's where it gets like really like kind of weird for people because they're like, I'm not comfortable with doing that, you know. So
Okay.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's different for everyone. I think, well, for the practice that I've been teaching men, they don't really experience a lot of pleasant sensations through their whole body, or they don't really feel like it clicks in the
Mm-hmm.
practice, unless they have gone maybe at least 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. So I feel like 2 weeks is a starting point, but this is a mind-body issue.
Mm.
Because if a man has a girlfriend and he's trying to do that with his girlfriend and he can't, you know, he feels a sense of like a dysphoria of its own. Like he feels not dissatisfied, but disappointed
Yeah.
in himself. Yeah. And so that and it feeling like, oh, it's bad for me to ejaculate. That's not the right mentality
Mm.
either. You know, it's not bad and it's not necessarily a failure. It's just what it is, and it's a learning curve,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And so, is it bad to ejaculate? Of course not. Is it bad to urgently ejaculate all the time and like feel like you need that 3 times a day, every single day, you know, like and be on a schedule like where you need to like keep pushing that? Yeah,
Mm.
that's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad because it takes chemical faculties and vital essence energy
Mm-hmm.
from your body to recreate the sperm.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What should you say are the most important benefits of semen retention?
Mental clarity and fortitude in the face of desire.
Oh, yeah.
So you'll be able to hold yourself in your center. You'll be able to maintain your poise, your patience, and your like logic and your integrity and your rationality.
Mm,
As a man, I think this is very important because
yeah.
men pride themselves on their control. And you cannot control a woman in order to have access to her body and derive pleasure from the experience of that woman. You know, if the control factor is moving out of you, this is where women are going to be pushed away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the control factor must be put back on yourself.
Yeah. Do you
This is,
think
yeah.
because nowadays all you see online like social media, Instagram, there's a lot of how should I put it like um a lot of new yeah, like they're trying to provocate certain types of ages, you know? Like when I take the phone of my nephew and I check his Instagram, it's crazy the amount of nudicity. Do I say it like that? Nudicity?
Mm. Nudism
Yeah,
or
exactly. Yeah. A
so like
lot.
mm, a lot of body sexualized stuff.
Yes, enormous. Like it's incredible how
And
much.
nudism and sexuality are not necessarily needing to be involved.
Yeah,
But
that's true also. Yeah, but I
so
think like young people around 16, 17, I think they are
mhm.
like more fragile
Yes,
than for
yes.
example people around 30, 40 years old because it's
Impressionable.
yeah.
Yeah, so when I was in Australia, I lived there for several years. A teacher that I saw in the market started talking with us. I don't remember how we got on this topic, but we were like in the frozen food section and like we're talking about like the children being exposed to pornography these
Mm,
days and how the pornography often has a lot of BDSM, a lot of like high kink factor, and a lot of like really unusual kinds of ways for people to interact with each other with like like tying each other up and like whips and
yeah.
chains and all of this factor, and people have become under the impression now, the younger generation is under the impression that this is how you get sexual. You
Mm,
get kinky, you do like all these freaky things with rope and like all whatever it is. And yeah, it's gotten to be like really warped. It's gone out of like the organic like boy meets girl type of
yeah.
thing, and it's put a lot of pressure on
Mm-hmm.
people. And it's also greatly distorted the dating pool as well. It's made the dating pool's conversations very like I feel like it's defiled
Mm-hmm.
because when you hang out with somebody for the first date, maybe they might be like, "So what are your kinks?" You know?
Wow, that's
And it's
incredible.
like, wait a second, like, do you play sports? Do you have any hobbies? Like, I mean, that's what you should be asking first. Like,
Yeah.
not really, what are your kinks? Like, how's your relationship with your damn family?
Yeah.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
come on.
But as you said before, maybe they are pushing that type of programming. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they want people to not think clearly in their head or,
Yeah, they
you
don't want
know.
people to talk about politics.
Yeah.
They don't want people to talk about
Mm.
yeah, like psychology, spirituality, philosophy. Uh, I have friends who are philosophers, and we're basically part right now of a big pushback. You
Oh.
know, I feel like philosophy needs to come forth as a pushback against politics
Yeah.
because politics are not philosophical.
No, that's true.
I wish somebody would stop shooting me with like a throat blockage ray. Like, you know,
Yeah.
whatever's going on with that. Like, yeah, doctors, they have no answer. They're like, Yeah. Anyway, yeah, somebody told me I might have Havana syndrome. Savannah syndrome? No, Havana syndrome.
Havana syndrome. What's that?
That's where like in Havana, I believe, like where is that? Is that in somewhere in South America? Is it Brazil? I forget. Where is it? Anyway, when American agents had been there, and I think other international agents, like for meetings and things like that, they've become sick from being in hotels. They get headaches, migraines, problems with their head, and they found out, I
Mm.
think it was radio frequencies like being directed
Wow.
into the hotel rooms. So yeah, things like that. Anyway, that's a whole other can of worms, you
Yeah,
know?
that's incredible.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff happened in the States, testing on their own people, their own
Yeah.
subjects.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you know about the hearing that we had recently about MKUltra?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's something that a lot of people need to be talking about, and
Yeah.
it's not a central enough conversation. And that
Mm.
was one of the weirdest hearings I've ever seen. It was
Yeah.
like it was deliberately made to be infuriatingly frustrating and annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Because they had a woman talking about the NIH on behalf of the NIH, talking about like what they need for funding and that they need attention. The NIH is like the NIH was there in the middle of it, jumping up and down. We need attention. When, excuse me, but you were sent here by the Democrats, which are supposed to be for the people. And what you're doing right now, disrupting a bigger story that is not about the NIH, is
Mm-hmm.
insanely undiplomatic. It's insanely undemocratic. So, from that point of that hearing, I reached a revelation about what's going on with our Democrats here. They're behaving undemocratically,
Mm.
and that's something that needs to be recognized like
Yeah.
right away. So that's a very suspicious red flag. um, that I think it reinforces my theory that democracy has been weaponized against the people for the
Mm-hmm.
people, which is very complicated. It's a very complex matter, and we're living in times right now of not only great uncertainty, but what I want to say is manufactured uncertainty.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
very bad.
Could you tell like a little bit for the listeners about MK Ultra?
Yes, so 75 years ago or so, it started that the CIA started doing collaborations with Nazi doctors and scientists, and other parties were involved as well. I'm not completely sure the names of those parties or anything like that because obviously I don't have access to
Mm-hmm.
anything that's unclassified or that is classified. And any assumptions that I make could breach the limitations of like what should be classified in my it could just be some of my theories might actually go into like what we shouldn't talk about,
Yeah.
which is weird. I can't like go too far with my theories because oh, it's a conspiracy theory for one thing,
Yeah.
right? Anyway, like they've got us cornered with that, and everybody
Mm-hmm.
is recognizing this. Um, so what they started working on with their experiments, from what I understand, is they set up also. So this is a collaboration not only between Germany and the United States, but also with Canada. And it was also in the hearing, I believe they brought up the potential of France being involved as well, but
Yeah.
there's not a lot of very conclusive evidence that they've been able to bring up. So the director of the CIA did have a lot of these records destroyed too. Or the director at that time, who had obviously he decided to leave right after he had the records destroyed. He resigned. Yeah, right.
Crazy.
So they were trying to help people who have traumas. And they set up like a institutional like office or something like that up in Canada. I forget exactly where, what it was called. Monroe Institute, maybe? No, no, I don't think it was that. Or was it? Never mind. Scratch that. I don't remember what it was called. Um, but So, helping people with trauma, they decided a great idea would be to put people on LSD with some of
Yeah.
it, put people on headphones and sleep deprive them. And the headphones were repeating phrases that were actually
Mm.
quite destructive and mean, that enforced bad self-talk, negative self-talk. So what it quickly became was they wanted to see how to break people without using knives or guns or any other like poison or anything like that. Just poisoning their minds, to
Yeah.
see how far they could go with that. And that's what I feel like the ultimate like basis of it is mind poisoning.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it's really headed. That's where it has become. And it's like all the rivers of communication and publishing have been poisoned at this point due to all of these collaborations and the Hydra like nature of MKUltra. I would say that is the biblical Hydra, of, the
Mm.
only one we could really talk about, because every project that has branched off, and there's been branches and branches and branches in the nature of the Hydra. Every branch that has every project that's branched off that has been abated, that has been ended or aborted, uh, had other quiet branches that came off that were not declared, obviously, because they were classified. And that's, I believe, exactly why. I guess I probably shouldn't have said that, but I did. I said that.
That's okay.
We we should all be saying these types of things right now because it came out. It's been
Yeah.
discussed. It's been laid out, and still, and this is also probably why I was so motivated to comment on your video, aliens and AI.
Yeah.
Okay, aliens and AI, right? Where am I going with this? Like, we're not really hanging outside that much anyway. Like, we're not out looking at the sky so much. We're not standing
Yeah.
outside with our friends looking at the sunset and watching the horizon. We're
Mm.
watching our screens on our phones. And they talked about through all of these projects, I think was part of it was Project Bluebeam,
Yeah.
or which it was like, think it had another name, Project Blue Light, or I don't know what, something like that.
HAARP also, right?
Harp,
Project
yeah,
Harp. Yeah.
there's harp. But so what light is coming out of our devices? What color is that light?
The
You
blue
know,
light.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Project Blue Beam. We're like
Wow.
we're in it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there has been documents and talks and things like that about how blue light can affect our DNA and cause us to be more subservient, cause us to be more docile, and
That's crazy.
yeah. So yeah,
But
we're
it's
walking around all day with them.
everybody. Yeah, everybody is hooked on that phone.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's pretty impressive because how much people are talking about all of those, like for example, MK Ultra. Do a lot of people know about that in the States? No.
No, no,
Wow.
and there should be a huge outcry on the streets right now after
Yeah.
that hearing. But you know what happened at the same time as that hearing? The public's attention was diverted to a Russian couple climbing to the top of the Empire State Building and flying a flag that had a message of world peace, peace and love. So, and what happened as a result of that publicity was that people started memeing the publicity. They
Yeah.
started making AI rehashes of the flag, saying like 20% off all week, at my
Mm.
business, and all these other things, and we saw a lot of that for a minute, long enough for everybody to be completely lost off the trail of
Yeah.
like, hey, like our brains are getting messed with. And they have mentioned in the hearing Project Naomi. Okay, I did not know very much about Project
Me
Naomi.
neither. What's that?
That was the collaboration between the military and the CIA.
Wow.
And from what they expressed in that was when It went from the CIA being interested in infiltrating the individual mind or incepting with the inception or infecting
Wow.
the individual's mind to the idea of incepting or infecting collective group minds, because that's what the military works on. They work on crowd control,
Mm.
masses, mass effect. So,
Also by technology like the phone, our phone,
oh
or
yeah,
signals, frequencies.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And at this point, it's like we cannot afford to be scared anymore.
Yeah.
We can't. Our environments are in trouble.
Mm.
Everybody's quality of life has fallen so low that they cannot garner the support for one another to care about
Mm-hmm.
like anything. Nobody cares,
Yeah.
and that's really very problematic. And uh, I've had that message, nobody cares, put into my
Yeah.
social media as responses to some of my videos, some of the things I've put out there, some of my media that I've published. I
Mm.
would get attacked by a swarm of
Wow.
nobody cares. Repetitive. Anything that's repetitive like that is being directed to penetrate your mind
Uh-huh.
and to infect you.
Yeah.
So anything that's repetitive like this is an attempt to attack your mind, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
exactly. And
And that's
also
where, yeah, we need to be vigilant.
yeah, and it was Joe Rogan who spoke with, I don't remember, he invited him to his podcast and he told Joe Rogan that 60% from all the comments, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, are bots. Bots. So
Yeah. So
there's,
why am I getting bot attacks for nobody cares?
yeah, because maybe they detect something on your channel, something that's authentic, something that can threaten, you know, the government or the
Yeah.
programming.
Yeah.
So they're trying to, yeah. It's incredible
Yeah,
because now with
I'm
AI,
doing
they,
something right, with
yeah.
my mind. I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing something right. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm trying to be the unicorn,
Yeah.
dipping my horn into a poisoned body of water, because that the folklore of the unicorn, when they do that, they purify it.
Wow.
So I'm trying to purify the waters and I get hit with like all types of venom.
Mm-hmm.
Like they'll throw extra poison at me when I'm
Yeah.
trying to like perform some alchemy. And it's interesting. Individuals have these blockages too with me. They have an individual blockage a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So it's actually quite scary to have levels of realization like this and then try to broach and describe certain topics and like ideas or whatever to people,
Mm-hmm.
because they're unable to stay with me for the alchemical transformation, because you have to go from negrito, darkness, heaviness, to like clarity, to like reaching like the purification, the pure distillation.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, yeah, the philosopher's stone doesn't come from avoidance.
Mm.
It does not come from stopping halfway through the process like many of my friends do. When I'm talking to them, they will stop me halfway through the process and they will be like, I don't like this topic. This is a negative topic. Can we talk about something better? Why are you so negative? And then
Mm.
it'll be straight avoidance. Like
Yeah.
they will avoid me at all costs. I am a heavily avoided person.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Because
am not
you're,
very embraced by a lot of people.
is it because you don't you don't put so many filters on? You
I
speak
think
your
so.
truth, and that's difficult for a lot of
I'm
people.
very intimidating. I'm told.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to bully people, but reality has a way of bullying delusion.
Mm.
You know, like I heard somebody say, or there's a quote somewhere that says the guru is a murderer.
Wow.
Yeah. This makes sense. Like run away from the gurus. Stay the heck away from them. Like the true gurus are not the ones like that are like doing the nasty with their students, you know?
Mm-hmm.
They're the
Yeah.
ones that people think are absolutely horrible.
Mm.
Really. They're the ones people think are evil
Yeah.
because like they can't understand why they would ruin their good times, you know,
Mm-hmm.
when their good times are based obviously on something that could come to harm because like it's impulsive and it doesn't consider the broader like time frame of if you keep doing this one thing you're gonna like get like a bad result from that, you know, like oh if you
Mm-hmm.
keep drinking alcohol to, like while you're partying you're going to lose your mitochondrial integrity in your cells and you're gonna start looking old faster. People are like you are not fun, you know. Freaking talk that nerd talk to me. I just want to drink. You know, like
Yeah, because it's confronting, you know? The truth
yeah.
is confronting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't want that. But like I said, like there's no way to attain enlightenment without truth.
Mm.
And even the like I'm not Christian really, but what did the Bible say? What did Christ say? I think I'm more Christian than Christians are, knowing all this stuff. Who is Christ? The way, the truth, and the life.
Mm.
And nobody gets through to the Father except through me, the truth.
Yeah.
You know, like that's
Mm-hmm.
what God's like. Christ is not like, I am love, love everybody and become like me. You know,
Yeah.
like Christ never said that, you know, but
No.
everyone's on the love train, you know. We
Yeah.
love love. Love is at a high frequency. It is a very high vibration and it is way above courage,
Yeah.
you know? So
Mm.
that's what's scary. It's like, so with what I've told you about this mapping of consciousness and where most people are dwelling, how often do we experience love? I would say very, very rarely, you
Yeah.
know? And
True
so
love, yeah.
that's horrible to think. So
Mm.
with the rarity of this love, what we're experiencing is desire wearing love's clothes.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, yeah.
You know, and oh my goodness, ouch. Like wait, maybe my mom doesn't even love me because she just desires for me to grow up and have a good job so I could help her when she is unable to walk.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mm.
that's not love, that's desire because it's conditional and it's based on what they want for someone. You know, even if like I want all the best for you and I feel like that's fully love because I care.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I think there's a fine line. Like, you know, like I feel like though, like that when you have a child, normally that should bring you into love. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think 100% it does, unfortunately. You know, some
Yeah.
people are able to just walk away from their children to actually ghost their own children.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah,
again because,
yeah,
like you said before, they are afraid with confrontation. You know? Your child is gonna confront you because if you teach him bad things and he repeat it and you're confronted with that, you know, damn, that's really my fault.
absolutely.
Yeah. Do you have children, Katherine? No,
Yeah.
me neither. And
I think I would be a great mother, and I've been told that I would be a stellar mother because I have actually a background in family entertainment, and I was a clown.
okay.
I was actually a clown.
Wow.
So I might go back to doing it because it is actually it's fun
Yeah.
and it helps break the ice for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
People don't see clowns anymore. They've pretty much gone into hiding or hibernation of some kind.
Yeah.
And you know, Hollywood did a number on this.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. I hope that I'm not lagging or anything like that. Am I okay?
No, no,
Okay.
everything is going smoothly here.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so the clown, Hollywood made it scary. We already had Stephen King's It,
Yeah.
you know, and they rehashed it. They made
Mm.
another It, you know, like a lot of people haven't seen the original movie of It, you know, the older one. I think older movies are always better, you know, because you
The
get like
first one, is it from also the same? I think it's from. Are you talking the one about in the years 80, or is it?
Yeah, I think it was an 80.
Yeah, I never saw it. Is it a good one?
I think it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a classic. You know, Tim
Okay, nice.
Curry playing the clown and
Ah,
you
nice.
know, it's
Tim
just it's
Curry.
so classic. Yeah, it's classic.
Okay, gonna
Yes,
put that
but
on my list.
yeah, check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the movies where Tim Curry played the villain, I think are like,
Yeah.
Have you seen
Incredible.
Legend?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ah,
that one's good. Yeah,
incredible.
it's
Yeah.
darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. So
Is there anything I didn't ask you today that you think people should hear that I forgot to ask you?
that's a really great question.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think we've done really good.
Yeah.
But there's always going to be more. This is a constant journey. It really is. Like
Mm.
you know, I could even get back into like that Garden of Eden thing a little bit more, but I don't know. You know, like with the fruits of the garden of knowledge of good and evil,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Um, And what do you say when you eat a fruit that's really delicious or you do something that feels really good? You say, mmm.
Yeah.
And mmm is actually like a really healthy sound for us to make
Mm-hmm.
for our inner pleasure, you know.
Yeah.
Um, there's so much I could say, you know, because Tantra, I teach like obviously a bit of Tantra if I'm
Yeah.
teaching like sex and yoga together. And
Mm-hmm.
Tantra is actually not about sex, it's about your whole entire nervous system and
Mm.
healing your whole
Yeah.
entire nervous system and using vibration. So also finger positions and the eyes. So the body with the sound, yeah, and yeah, so those three things,
Okay.
mantra, the voice, mantram actually,
Mm-hmm.
mantram, and then mudra, and then yantra, which is like a power symbol. So what you see is going to affect you also. Um,
Okay.
really, yeah, I feel like I'm kind of going off topic a little bit because I can go all day long talking about this stuff.
Yeah, that's good. You know a
Yoga
lot about it.
Shastra and Yoga Abhyasa. A lot of people have never heard these terms, and I actually just kind of came to a reckoning of these terms recently. There are two main pillars in yoga that don't include bhakti. A lot of people talk about bhakti yoga, where it's
Mm-hmm.
much centered around Krishna and chanting to Krishna, which is really interesting because bhakti can also be chanting to Shiva. It could be practicing even maybe Tantra could be considered part of bhakti because you're invoking energies, chanting mantras, all this stuff. So Shastra and yoga is science, doctrine, and philosophy all in
Wow.
one. So I think that's an important point,
Yeah.
actually, because then that is also, I think it's a medicine to cure us from what politics have done to us.
Yeah.
So we can get back down to how the mind and the body work and what actually works for the organism of the
Mm-hmm.
human being to make it powerful, strong, happy, and live in clarity.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
this is very important in yoga. Clarity is like a very, very important objective for us to work towards in yoga. And
Mm-hmm.
that does not necessitate deep, flexible poses. It's easy for our egos to get caught up in the flexibility and the calisthenics, all this of yoga.
Mm.
So I think people need to really work on expanding their
Yeah.
understanding of this. So I'm going to be coming out with books soon. So
Wow.
watch this space. They're coming.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm writing like three at the same time.
Whoa, that's
That's
incredible.
yeah. They're
Is it
almost
also
over.
it talks about yoga, about all like that type of stuff we talked about today, like the
Yes,
inner.
it gets into it. One of them is more focused on that than others.
Nice.
Another one is going to be about environmental factors and our consciousness and how our consciousness in fact affects our environment. I almost said infects, but this kind of like the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how the environment affects our consciousness and how we can work on our environments to actually elevate our consciousness and to help us to become more mentally and emotionally healthy. There are environmental factors from our human developments that need to be addressed
Mm.
to help support us all so that we can come back to uh, being able to meditate more easily in
Mm.
developed landscapes, developed cities, and things like this.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's good because we need that. We
We
really
need
need that.
meditation is not a performance and it is not even necessarily a skill.
Mm-hmm.
It's an environmental byproduct of just being in a natural state. It is a natural state
Yeah.
meditation, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard for
Yeah.
us to understand that when we have been exposed to a loud environment, where it's just mechanical noises happening over and over again
Mm-hmm.
all day. Boom, bang, and like airplanes, cars, all this stuff. And it's not just the sound of the birds and the wind and trees or the
Yeah.
ocean, like all these noises are actually causing us a lot of mental disturbance. But a lot of people have, become good at like blocking it out and things like that.
Yeah.
But they still their neurology just doesn't really know what it's missing out on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Katherine, where can people find your work?
It will be put on my website, which actually, unfortunately, is not a simple URL, but you can keep up with me through my Instagram right now. That would be the
Okay.
best way to do it because then I put
Nice.
all my links on my Instagram and things like that in the bio.
Perfect.
So yeah, my Instagram is Cat Knows Yoga, and it's just KatKnows Yoga. Cat knows
Yoga.
yoga. Cat with a K.
Nice.
Yeah,
Perfect. Nice.
yes.
Thank you very much. I will check that out. I will also put
Hopefully,
it.
Meta won't pull it down because they see something that they don't like.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, Katherine, thank you so much for taking the time today to join me. To be honest, I really appreciate your openness, your energy, and of course your willingness to share your perspective with us. It was
Thank you
very
for this
nice.
this good one-on-one talk. I really appreciate
Yeah,
it.
liked it really much. Yeah, so I think that's a wrap for today.
Okay.
We shall hear each other again, I hope.
I hope so too. If you need me to come over, I'll maybe take a flight over there and we
Yeah,
can
wow, that would be
get in the
awesome.
studio. I could talk with a whole bunch of people. It'd be great. I'd love to
Yeah,
talk with like a room full of guys,
yeah,
just because I don't usually see a lot of intelligent women talking with rooms full of guys. Like I see a lot of these setups where it's like they find some of like the weirdest ladies to talk, and
yeah,
some of the stuff they're talking about is like so like insanely weird and not only weird, but okay, let's face it, dumb.
yeah,
And they're just
that's
making a
true.
lot of women just look so dumb.
Yeah,
And it's like this is not how all women are. There are some
mm,
women, maybe a lot of them are. I don't know. I'm not a lot of women, right? Obviously, like it's personality types.
exactly.
We all have
Yeah.
different personality types.
We
So
should do that, Katherine. Did you ever visited Europe?
I've been to
Oh,
Holland.
nice.
Yeah,
Ah, that's close to
it's
here.
close, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been very close to Switzerland and France. I've been to France
Wow.
several
Nice.
times. I've been to France. So
Wow.
yeah, yeah. That's it. I think that's the only parts of Europe I've really been to, and
Ah,
I need to
that's beautiful.
go. I need to go to. I would like to go to Switzerland and yeah, Belgium. I've been looking at Serbia. I'm looking at like yeah, Eastern Europe, other places too. Yeah.
Wow. So you're traveling a lot.
I'm not really traveling a lot right now. I'm just looking at the potentials. I'm looking at
Yeah.
some like potential places. I was invited to Dubai for work as well, so I may actually be offering some yoga teachings in Dubai.
Okay.
Um, we'll see. Yeah.
Nice. And you're living in New York, right?
Yeah, I'm in New York City right now. Mhm.
Wow. It's kind of, I don't hear any noises, no police cars,
I'm in
nothing.
a
So,
I'm in a very fortunate portion of Manhattan actually.
wow.
I'm not in a super loud part, like central Manhattan, like closer to like Times Square and stuff. That's where it's very, very crazy, you
Yeah.
know. But yeah.
That's good because it's, like you said before, it's also important to sometimes have your rest, your silence, to meditate, to
Yeah,
be
I'm
just
grateful
yourself.
that I can hear birds sometimes when I wake up in the morning here, which is like
Wow.
so nice. Instead of waking up to just sirens and stuff. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I would
Well,
definitely
yeah.
like to find a nice, quieter place to live.
Yeah, we should plan it, Katherine. We
All
should
right,
plan your
let's move me to Europe.
yeah. I would love to invite you here to the podcast and talk about interesting stuff.
That'd be great. At least a visit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, sure. Nice. I'm happy you're excited to do it. Yeah,
I
because
am.
a lot of people feel also like scared
Oh
maybe
yeah.
to go outside of the states.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. That's I believe it's all part of the whole plan.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen this reaction well before all the immigrant tragedies going on. You know, like
Mm.
all that stuff happening right now, the craziness. America's always been scared of leaving. You know, people are always scared of leaving their city, their location. I lived in Australia for 5 years. I tell people, hey, we can
Wow.
have a retreat there. It's really beautiful. My website, I have a little advertisement for a retreat in November. I've been trying to shoot for people
Wow.
to come with me to Australia because I know
Beautiful.
a great resort. It's really
Wow.
pretty. Yeah, it's like very lush. I've got videos and images on my website.
Oh,
And yeah,
nice.
just check through the link on my bio of my
Okay, I will
Instagram.
check it out
Yeah,
because
yeah,
Australia is also on my list. I want to visit Australia once.
that'd be great. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I know a collective of DJs. So
Wow.
I teach a dancing yoga. And I'm going to be
Okay.
doing one on the 14th here. Yeah, and it's gonna be either it's probably gonna be central Manhattan, and then I'm gonna do another one in Brooklyn.
Okay.
Yeah, I have some places set up. So yeah,
Nice.
dancing yoga. So it's like a party.
Yeah. A lot of
Yeah,
cool stuff coming up.
yeah. It's important to get into meditative absorption in yoga.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, I
Dhyana,
agree
call
with
it.
that.
Dhyana is like that's right before you reach samadhi,
Mm.
which yoga really wants you to taste samadhi as many times as you can. So, one of the things I wrote recently is that yoga is meant to provoke your consciousness
Mm.
to be temporarily derailed from ego.
Okay.
So, you're always
Nice.
going to be dealing with your ego as long
Mm.
as you're alive. There's really no permanent ego death. If ego dies, it's really just taking a vacation or it's, you
Yeah.
know, it'll come back, don't worry.
Yeah, we need it. We
Yeah,
also
you
need
do.
it. Yeah.
You got to interact in this world on this earthly plane, and it's just part of the deal, you know.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, well, again, Katherine, thank you so much for today. And
Thank you, Ismail.
we will talk soon, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Bye bye. See you next
Bye.
time.
See you.